the Lamborghini has allowed him to open things up down the field and make things happen. Let's see if who wins that one, because that could be a pretty big tone setter heading into playoffs coming up in a couple weeks. But that
Absolutely.
would be my game to watch. If I were to pick one, if I were, besides the Packers Bears, of course, because that's what our podcast is all around.
Yeah, that'd be tough. I mean, that's another offense versus defense game. You've got the electricity of Tua, proving the doubters wrong, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. That's a fun one for sure.
Definitely is. And Buffalo Patriots play tonight at 7:30. It'll be coming up here in 25 minutes. Oh, that one. Well, be sure to tune into that one after you tune into Across Enemy Lines, of course. But that is tonight to open up Week 13. In other news, though, we have kind of a busy week, and you know who's back? Guess who's back? It's Deshaun Watson. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what is gonna happen with that in the Browns organization?
He's gonna
Because
get booed
let's be
loud.
honest, they haven't been that bad. Jacoby Brissett's looked okay.
He deserves a starting quarterback job somewhere. I'll stand by that. Seems like a great teammate. I saw his speech after helped that team get their 4th win. They've been trudging through a lot of really tough matchups. AFC North is really tough, and no, I think Jacoby Brissett did enough to hold everybody down, hold the team together, and get them a few tough, hard fought wins. So I hope Jacoby Brissett gets a starting job somewhere.
Do you think he will likely not start this weekend though? I would expect Deshaun to get
Yeah,
those snaps
Deshaun's
just
in.
with
As
how
soon
much
as that
money.
thing is lifted, that suspension's lifted, he's going to be in, I think.
And it's a pretty easy game. It's against his old team, Houston. Should be kind of a walkthrough. You know, Houston doesn't bring a lot to the table. Those poor Texans,
Yeah.
they don't have a lot to cheer for.
Yeah, they're cheering for the number 1 pick. That's about it right now. They
Now,
not a whole lot going on. They benched Davis Mills, so it's Kyle Allen show now.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's, just been kind of lackluster there. And yeah, I just can't believe the Packers didn't get Brandon Cooks from there. But
Yeah,
that's a
right.
whole nother story. Like why not? Why not? Why not try to win at least? But in other news again, Antonio Brown is has an arrest warrant out for him, which isn't a good thing for him. And that just released today. Not a good sign for Antonio, who's had some psychological problems we've all known. Just kind of, I don't know the exact reason for the warrant. I didn't look into it. I just know I saw it a couple times that a warrant was for a arrest warrant was out for Antonio Brown. So not a good thing with Antonio Brown, but domestic violence never a good thing either. And he's been one of the negative sides of the league. You got to think there's some CTE involved with him,
Yeah.
especially after the famous Vontez Perfect hit.
Yeah, that's the discussion around him. Every time Antonio Brown does something that we feel like is uncharacteristic, you kind of go back and look at that hit and wonder what stemmed from it.
But there was also signs with him at Central Michigan.
People were saying,
Just
yeah, that there was
yeah,
some behavioral issues.
yeah, there was some issues with him prior, so we don't quite know yet. But again, he's in the news for the wrong thing, and that just seems to be a recurring theme throughout the league and throughout. And when talking about Antonio Brown, that's to be honest, he was one of the most coveted receivers at one time in the league.
Oh, he was the best.
'Cause
Yeah.
he was the best.
Him and
And
Julio and D-Hop.
yep, nobody could beat him. And he was, one of those guys when he was playing for Pittsburgh was just great. Then he went to the Raiders, played that little game, and left. He just wanted to get on Hard Knocks or something, and then was with Tampa Bay, I believe, was
Yeah.
the next step, and then it was game over against the Jets. Actually,
Yeah. That was it. That was the
just
Bucks
a
game.
weird story.
He's gonna be a documentary, that's for sure. I think there's a lot to follow there. Super, super weird scenario. Just everything
Did
he's
you
gone
hear
through.
the Ravens 2000 team 3 for 30s coming out?
Yeah, that should be interesting.
That's going to be really good. Maybe we have a watch party.
There we go.
There we go. But right now, Sparks, who is your best team in the NFL and why?
Best team in the NFL right now.
You
Personnel
need me
wise,
to go first? I can go first.
you could go first. Yeah, I'm in between two right now.
I'm gonna go with San Francisco right now. I think they are, even though they're not ranked the best NFL team, they're balanced on both sides of the ball. They look good. That Shanahan school of football is working well over there. Not so much in Green Bay, but that tree of football coaches is working well, and they just look good. I mean, they don't look like they're going to get beat anytime soon, or at least beat easily. They're not like flip flop like I think a couple teams are. I think the Vikings can be flip flop. That we saw it against the Cowboys. They were definitely flip flop there, where they got absolutely pounded. And then the Chiefs are always good too. But I want to give the San Fran credit because you know what, they don't have a big name quarterback, and they came into the season thinking Trey Lance was going to be the guy. And Trey Lance gets hurt, Jimmy Garoppolo takes over and plays as consistent as can be, and he does have the weapons around him to help out. But with that McCaffrey trade, that opens things up a little bit too. So there's a lot of things going right in San Fran. I think that'll be a dangerous team heading into playoffs. I wish I could say my Packers, but honestly, I cannot.
Yeah, I do think San Fran is a top 3 football team right now. And you look at the personnel they have, especially if healthy. Jimmy G's going to hold it down. We've seen that team go to a Super Bowl before and nearly take out the Chiefs. They blew a 2-possession lead late. We know exactly what Christian McCaffrey can do when he is healthy. George Kittle's a top 5 tight end. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. The entire defense, when healthy, is horrifying. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. The one knock on the Chiefs is always their defense. They're allowing a little over 21 points a game right now. So again, not the biggest fan of that. But the fact that Chiefs are 9-2 with the second best record in the league and just not being talked about because we expect it from them is why I think they're the best. Nobody's talking about this team right now. Nobody's talking about the fact they're 3 games up on the division, on a division that was supposed to be taken from them. The AFC West was supposed to be the scary division where all 4 teams were going to be great, and I was one of the people saying I thought the Raiders were going to give the Chiefs a run for their money. Raiders are 4-7. Denver is 3-8. Los Angeles Chargers, the biggest challenge, they're 6-5. Herbert is still kind of playing with some bruised up ribs, to say the very least. The Chiefs are 9-2. They are the highest scoring offense of any team in the league, and I think as long as the defense doesn't allow like over 30, they can win every game. The Bengals came out slow. They're starting to look a little bit better. Lamar's having a prove it year, but then you have to put a heat check on him because they just lost to Jacksonville. The Jets are going to be a really young team. Not sure about them. Buffalo's banged up. Josh Allen's definitely banged up. Miami's going to be in new territory. Tua's going to be playing his first playoff games. There's so much inexperience that's going to end up being in the playoffs in the AFC. I could see the Chiefs just running right through everyone. And then it's going to end up being who comes out of the NFC. And I feel like there's a lot of frauds there in Minnesota. Philadelphia's had a really easy schedule. I mean, you play who you play, so we'll have to see that. But I could easily see the Chiefs running it back from a couple of years ago. So I'm going to go Kansas City right now. I think it's a really exciting team. Yeah.
I'm not against that. I think that's a good pick. Andy Reid always surprises you.
Mm-hmm.
And that Mahomes offense is just, of course, electric when it gets going. And he's got some weapons with Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. But it's a really good team. Balance, as you said, defense is always kind of the question mark on that team. We'll have to see what they can do. But yeah, they are dominating that division that even frankly I thought was going to be won by somebody else.
Yeah.
I didn't know who between the Chargers and Raiders, but I thought it was going to be somebody else's ball game. And nope, the Chiefs prevailed, which was a good thing for them because now they're in contention for the best spot. And the AFC isn't real strong. I would say overall, I think the NFC is a bit stronger than the AFC this year, but we'll have to see how things pan out because you never know. Playing in Arrowhead is really hard.
Oh, yeah.
Just really rowdy and really loud. Like we never predicted that Geno Smith was going to be leading.
You did.
For a while there. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
You leading that team to great heights.
And they could still get in. They're 6-5. They're gonna have to probably grab a wild card spot because, like you said, San Francisco could go on a run right now, but they don't have to. But yeah,
just the credit to Geno, man. Geno time. Just caught everybody off guard. Besides me,
you knew it.
I'm gonna bring that up. But we have some other news in other sports. We talked real quick about the World Cup. The U.S. is advancing. They got to take on. They won 1-0 to Iran. And now they got to take on the Netherlands, which isn't going to be a great game for them. I think Netherlands are pretty good. Not real big soccer fans. Or I'm not. I don't know about Sparks, but I don't follow it real tight. But I know a
I'm
lot
not
of people
either.
care about it. So I figured we'd mention it. And then we look in the NBA real quick and the NHL. And then we'll go to everybody's favorite segment, QB roulette. So the NBA season, Bucks 15-5 have Lakers tomorrow. And Bulls falling apart here. 8-10 take on Warriors tonight. And the Hawks again, just not finding it. But let's talk about the NBA real quick. We'll head over to QB roulette in a second. So the Bucks 15-5, Bulls 8-10. Sparks, what's going wrong?
They're beating great teams. They're losing to horrible teams. I mean, not horrible, but they beat the Bucks. They beat the Celtics. I'm like, okay, you just beat two of the best teams in the NBA. Wouldn't be shocked if they just go out and beat the Warriors tonight. And they play a team like the Thunder. Shai sneaks up on them and absolutely cuts them up. Then you play a team like the Phoenix Suns, and Devin Booker drops 51 on you in 3 quarters. It's just inconsistency. There's certain combinations of guys out on the floor that don't seem to have chemistry. I'm a big fan of Ayo Dosunmu really taking over that one spot, whether Lonzo Ball is going to be healthy in the next few weeks or not. That's been its own saga. Just lack of consistency. There's some firepower off the bench. Goran Dragic is a great three-point shooter. I think it's just, overall, it's certain combinations of guys going out there who aren't really gelling. We're seeing a lot of turnovers. No one's able to get hot at certain points. There's a heavy reliance on DeMar, which is what happened going into the playoffs last year. So just waiting for this team to gel, and we're hitting the 1/3, about the 1/3 point. Yeah. So I'm still waiting.
Gotta start gelling soon. You want to get back in the conversation. But the Bucks, they continue to be dominant in the Central. And just fun to watch. I mean, the Bucks just continue to win. Really the high point of Wisconsin sports overall, even though I'm not a Brewers fan, but they are the high point of the Wisconsin sports as for a long time there, they weren't. They were terrible. Like nobody even thought of the Bucks. I remember I had one of the classic purple Bucks starter jackets back in the day. I was probably in 4th grade, the coolest looking kid in school. But nobody could care about the Bucks. So it didn't matter. Yep, it was a frustrating time.
Brandon Knight days.
Yep. Yep, just who was the center?
And Bogut for a bit, but then they got good.
No, it was before him, I think. I can't remember. Yeah, it was just bad, and the Bucks finally look good. They have the Lakers tomorrow, though. Lakers are the old man team that LeBron's trying to resurge. We'll see what they can do. I haven't really checked in on them. I know they were struggling for a while, but they might have picked things back up. Taking a look.
Anthony Davis went on a really good run and then got hurt. So, like, he was putting up, like, Wilt Chamberlain-like numbers, like 30 and 20 every night. And then he got hurt, so kind of the
Well,
same
that's LeBron's team, so he's got to take charge if he wants to win a title with another one of his power teams, which I don't agree with.
Yeah, it's tough over there. It's an older squad for sure. You got Russ coming off the bench. Just lots of
Russ is
experimenting.
just terrible. I hate Russ. Nothing I like about him. Don't even like to play him in 2K.
Oh, I think he's pretty good in 2K. He's a good slasher. He'll go coast to coast on anybody, but he's really athletic.
But I
it's
don't
just
like
the
to
jump
use
shot.
him.
You don't want to use him?
Fun.
I'll play with him.
He's a guy that's like struggling to join any team. He's like the Odell, like I said. And speak of him, he's been kind of quiet. I know he's looking for the Cowboys, but we'll see if he gets that offer. He was now been at 3 teams before. At first, it was the Buffalo Bills. There's the 2 teams. The
Bills and the Rams at the beginning of the season. Then the Rams.
Yeah, I
were
thought
bad.
the Rams.
Yep. So then the Bills.
Then the Rams lost to the Bills. And now we're at the Cowboys. Staying in the NFC though, that's consistent with him.
Yeah, New York is. His old team is doing good. The Giants are having the best season they've had in years, and he's not. Maybe go back. I don't know.
He got escorted off a plane too. That's in other news.
Yeah.
What was that all about? Was he? I can't remember. Was it drug related or it was him falling in and out of conscience?
I don't know the whole story there. I just know it started to become a conundrum. He kind of refused to get off, and they had to escort him off. Not really sure.
That's always a good thing to challenge TSA. That's always a good.
Gosh, yeah.
Yep.
I'm good.
Good enemy to have.
I am good.
Doesn't go that far. Doesn't go that far. And then if you get flight banned from flights, that's even worse. On the no-fly list. What
Gotta
would
drive
happen
everywhere.
in that scenario if he got on the no-fly list and he was on an NFL team? Would he have to like take a car?
Probably you gotta either that or you get like your own. I don't even know how that would work. You hire your own pilot and get a plane or something. If he's
Maybe
got
we
to
should put a
drive, that would suck. He's got to leave like a day earlier than everyone else.
drive. Maybe it's a school bus.
Yeah. Well,
You take a school bus.
then he just needs to play for Kansas City. He needs to be right in the middle of America. So no matter what, he doesn't have to go coast to coast, and he can just, oh yeah, it's only a 12-hour drive for me this week.
Yeah, that would be something special. That gets you thinking though. What would happen in that kind of scenario if you can't take a plane?
Yeah, that'd be really inconvenient. Get all his stuff in
And
there.
what if you played overseas? You have to go take a boat.
Oh yeah, he just wouldn't go to London games
Yeah,
or
just
Germany
take a cruise
games.
ship.
Right, a cruise ship.
Wouldn't that be insane?
That
Got
would be
banned from
crazy.
TSA because I don't think they care if he's NFL or not.
No, I mean,
Honestly.
if they think you're posing a threat, they're gonna
Yep, they're
they're gonna
gonna do
take you out of
whatever
there
they
real
gotta
quick.
do. Yep. But let's talk about their dreadful Hawks. They haven't done anything. Chicago Blackhawks, Corey Sparks and I both agree on this team. And 6-12-4. My gosh, Hawks, win
Great.
some games.
Great.
Great. I don't have a lot to say about them because they've been awful since they fired Quenneville, which was the dumbest move of all franchise moves for the Chicago Blackhawks. But they are 6-12. They started out decent. I remember I was like, oh, there's a little hope, but you know what?
It's gone.
Gone.
Falling
Gone.
off a cliff.
At least now ticket prices are going down, so you can get tickets cheaper for a Hawks game. So
Yeah.
there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Some benefits. Your team not playing well. They take on the Rangers Saturday. Probably not going to win that contest, but we'll have to see. And now it's time for one of your favorite segments, one of them, and that's in QB Roulette. Sparks loves it. He loves talking about his quarterbacks. He's basically the Mel Kiper of across enemy lines. And he gives us the heat.
Given the heat. So we're going to do 2 quarterbacks here. We'll talk goods and bads of the player. We'll give them a grade.
Do we do 2 more? Because we missed last week?
Yeah, we can do a total of 4 and do a speed run. So we'll do goods, bads of each
Yep.
quarterback, grade, and then we'll basically throw out their expectation for the last 6 weeks of the season. Even if they're out of playoff contention, what do they need to prove? We're down to decent amount. Joey B. Okay, we'll go Joe Burrow. We could speed through these. You want to go first or me?
I can take this one. I'll give him a B plus right off the bat. Great
Okay.
pocket passing presence, good command of the field. A lot like Tom Brady in his younger days, I think. He's very good at coordinating with the field. He's got decent pocket presence. He can move outside the pocket decently well. He's good at the long ball, or solid at the long balls. I wouldn't say great, but he is very good. His negatives, I think, some of it's definitely not confidence. He's got plenty of confidence in himself, as we've all seen. But I think some of his decision making can be troublesome for him. Sometimes he stays in the pocket too long when it's collapsing. We know that Bengals offensive line doesn't have a lot of structure still. They're working on it. But remember in the Super Bowl, the Rams just ran him over, and he had troubles. And I get it. He didn't have more than a snap of the finger before he had a guy in front of his face. But I think that's when you got to adjust to quicker routes and more slants, quick slants, and just trying to do flip it out to the running back in the flat and that sort of thing. So I'll give him B plus. I think he's pretty good. I think he's going to be a solid quarterback if he can stay healthy. He has taken a lot of sacks, so that's a real big question mark for him.
Yeah, that's a really solid analysis, Johnny. I'm pretty much going to go parallel with you. I'll give the guy an A minus. He did have a tough couple of games to start the year. Everyone was talking, oh, the Rams and the Bengals had the Super Bowl hangover. Well, now it's just the Rams, and they're all hurt, like all of them. Joey B's got their confidence. Yeah, the Rams are horrible. That is a well, Cooper Kupp's gone. Like, yeah.
They
Allen
went
Robinson,
for the Malort.
the Malort.
Drank a bunch of Malort.
That's what it is right now. But as you said, Johnny, Joey B, plenty of confidence. He's able to throw down the field with conviction. Really impressed with what he's been doing the last couple of weeks. They beat a Titans team that was the #1 seed in the AFC last year, and he did it without Jamar Chase. They've actually won 3 games in a row now without Jamar Chase. Now, first they beat the Panthers, then they beat the Steelers, who are looking a little better, not going to lie. And then they beat the Titans, all without Jamar Chase. Leadership's there, as you said. Pocket presence is going to be an extremely important attribute with that collapsing offensive line, constantly cycling through different guys. They're having their ups, definitely in a better spot than they were 2 years ago. But I'm just going to knock him from being at a pure A or an A plus because he did have a really tough start to the year. And I want to see how far he can take this team. The Bengals, as we said before, we feel the AFC isn't as deep as the NFC. The entire NFC East might make the playoffs for all we know. Like, worst record 7-5, and it's the Commanders. Who saw that coming? No one. But I think that the expectation for Joey B should be at least get back to the AFC Championship game. I don't know if you can make the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes in there, but they did it last year. This team could be getting full strength, getting hot at the right time. That seems to be the case with them. They've won 3 in a row. So yeah, I'm gonna go A minus. Not a whole lot of bads, to be honest. It's mostly just what's around him, and let's get to that AFC Championship game at the very least and show everyone, you know what, this is a sustained, successful team. It's just not a team that had a one-year wonder. They completely jumped the gun after getting some talent and fell off a cliff. Let's sustain a playoff run here. A couple of playoff runs in a row.
That would be my expectation as well. AFC Championship.
I think that's a good place to start. Or not start. He kind of made the Super Bowl last year. Okay, well, this is kind of gone now because I don't know if he's coming back. He's questionable. But Matthew Stafford, this is interesting. I'll let you start again.
All right. Matthew Stafford, he's went downhill since last year, I think. He's actually degressed. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
I believe
degressed,
so.
digressed. We'll go with it.
Anyways, grammar cops, I apologize. But yeah, Stafford has went down since last year. I think his confidence has went down, which is a big thing. I think his offense isn't working the way he would like it to. He's been known to have toughness, and he's been known to have a great pocket presence. He can make a move when he has to, but he doesn't always do it. He's got good deep ball. But this year just is a whole different scenario. Whole 2022-2023 season is just out of whack. And I think we all know that. But yeah, Stafford, right now, I would give him a B, a flat B. But he hasn't been playing the greatest. But as a quarterback, I know he's he's capable of great things. One of the, I think, most talented quarterbacks that had a lot of his time spent at a team that wasn't very good in the Detroit Lions. But on his downsides, he's again too one of those guys that puts the ball in tight windows and doesn't always win out. He makes some dumb decisions and then can get turned over. Taking a look at what he's done for the Rams, he's been okay, but I think right now in his time and career, he needs weapons around him because he isn't going to do it all on his own. I think he's a little bit battered up from playing for the Lions, and he's feeling that a little bit. Unfortunately, he hasn't looked great this year again. So expectation for him, just try to, at the beginning of the season, it was make it back to the NFC Championship before we knew anything. But then the Rams took a total U-turn and decided, you know what, we're not going to do that. We're going to get injured and play like crap. But so right now, I mean, I just put it bluntly. I don't try to sugarcoat it at all. Not going to put the marshmallow sauce on it or whatever Sparks likes on his sweet potatoes. But expectations, just try to take second in the NFC West, I guess, because there's not a lot of expectation for you. That team is falling apart by its, by the stitches, and we'll just see how far the downfall is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to second with you there. I'm gonna give him a B minus. I don't want to make excuses for somebody who was on pace for plenty of interceptions. He's only at 8 right now because he got hurt a couple weeks ago. Stafford did lose Cooper Kupp, lost Allen Robinson. So they're down to Van Jefferson as their first wide receiver. He's a solid guy. Higbee's been in and out. Their greatest rusher right now is Cam Akers with 274 rushing yards on the year. So that's a great pace. They're going to try out Kyron Williams again this week. So no running game. Lost Wagner. I mean, there is not a lot to be. Lost Miller. Von Miller as well. There's not a lot to be excited about.
Angeles.
Yeah, exactly. Just Los Angeles. Exactly. So Stafford goods still has that raw arm strength. He can chuck it down the field with the best of them. The confidence is there. Bads, I think it's overconfidence. We're seeing a guy throw into double and triple coverage because he's on top of the world. This guy was on a team that would be lucky to win 5 or 6 games in a year, and now he wins the Super Bowl. He's probably pretty confident. Maybe getting a little bit of that invincibility factor, trying to fit a ball in between 2, 3, 4 defenders. And you never have the personnel to do that. There's no Calvin Johnson in the league right now. It's going to be able to moss 4 guys. DeAndre Hopkins had a moss over like 3 defenders from the Bills 2 years ago now in a Hail Mary situation. That's not Cup's play style. He's not going to moss people. He's going to, route run the crap out of you and just try and get around all your guys and sit in holes and zones. So, yeah, B-. Those are his goods and bads. Expectation, get healthy for next year. There were murmurs of an elbow injury coming into the year, and looking at what I saw, I don't think he was ever healthy. So this is a reset year. You just want a ring. You could retire now, and you could call it a great career, but I would say get healthy and then hope the rest of your team gets healthy too. I'm not even going to put a record on it. This team is in a horrible position. They could go out and get 1 or 2 more good draft picks, and they might get a really good draft pick this year. Do what the Warriors did, take a couple years off, and then come back and be good again. I don't know, but you got to get healthy first.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Let's go
With
to
QB3.
number 3. Jimmy Garoppolo. All right, the floor is yours.
Oh, giving me the floor on every one of them.
Yeah.
All right. Jimmy G has proven himself to be a quarterback. He has proven himself that he deserves to be in the league and not a backup quarterback sitting on the sidelines. He's taken a San Fran team that was expecting Trey Lance to take over. He willingly stepped aside and said, you know what, let Trey Lance take over. And then Trey Lance got hurt, and guess who's stepping into play? It's Jimmy G, Mr. Prettyface. But yeah, he's playing very well. I think, again, I'll give him actually a B+, because I think he's playing really good football. He plays consistent football, much like Tom Brady. He's not going to take a lot of chances. He's going to play to what his team is set up for. He's not going to, try to throw and way down the field if he doesn't feel the receiver is capable of handling that kind of toss. But he'll work his flats. He gets his guys in routes, and I think he's just consistent on that kind of stuff. And that's why this team is seeing so much success. And they also just got a weapon called Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, so everything's opening up for him a little bit more. He's got George Kittle, he's got Samuel at receiver, and it just looks like a team that is going to do pretty well here, and I gave him that number 1 spot. But Jimmy G just plays a consistent football. Sometimes it hurts him though, because he can't get out of the consistent ways. He can't find other opportunities and make other opportunities out of a play. Some of the greatest players in football have had to do different things. We look at, Terry Bradshaw, which was kind of luck, and I'll admit that, the immaculate catch or whatever, or bounced off a guy and bounced up in the air, and another guy caught it and touchdown. But you got to move to the side, throw it in the back of the end zone. You got to take those chances. I think his downside is he probably doesn't take enough chances, but I think he'll get an opportunity to do that with the starting position. For his expectation of the year, you got to win that NFC West. There's no question about it that NFC West is a pretty weak division at this point. As we mentioned, the Rams are not playing well. Your best competitor right now is the Seahawks, and Kyler Murray's been quiet with his team because they just can't figure it out in Arizona. And they were supposed to be one of the teams that I believe I said, one of the top teams that are going to slide in under. But of course, it's been San Francisco that kind of stayed quiet for a while at the beginning of the season. Now showing up and playing really good football.
Yeah, Jimmy G has had arguably one of the best statistical years he's had in his career. So goods, he's extremely intelligent. When you look at a guy who's not going to go out and take too many chances, like you said, Johnny, he's not going to go make the off-balance throw. He's not going to try and make the hero play. And sometimes you do need that. You've got your Patrick Mahomes, you've got your Joey Burrows, usually a pocket passer. He's going to tuck it and run once in a while. Jimmy G, in the past, has just been a guy who's going to get the job done. The personnel around him has gotten better. I'm going to give him a B+ as well. I mean, with the personnel around him, you really do need to be able to do well. And to have only 4 interceptions, despite the fact he's played 10 games, he's got a 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio with 16 touchdowns, obviously. So just doing all the right things, using the personnel around him, leaning on that defense, getting the job done. The expectation I have for him, make this team's decision going into next year super difficult by winning the Super Bowl or taking this team to the Super Bowl. Can you really honestly put Trey Lance back in there if Jimmy G is your quarterback and this team goes to the Super Bowl? Can you just go, yep, let's plug this rookie in who's already gotten hurt twice, who's only played a couple games in his career? He'll make us better. Prove again that you can be the quarterback for a team that can go all the way and maybe win it all the time, or maybe win it all this time. It's going to be a tough matchup if they have to go up against like the Chiefs or a full strength Bills team at the end, or the Dolphins offense, which we're seeing that matchup this week.
Well, you talk about the AFC. There's a lot of NFC teams that'll be tough. He's got to take on the Vikings.
Yeah,
He's got to
Vikings,
take on
Eagles.
Eagles, Philly. It's going to be a tough road to the Super Bowl for the NFC too.
Right. I just think the experience with the 49ers, you talk about the Vikings, a team that hasn't gone deep with their current personnel. The last time
Oh,
they
and
went
I
to the,
hope they don't make it.
right. Last time they went to the NFC Championship, it was Case Keenum under center, right? And then you have the Eagles who got first rounded by the Bucks last year. I think the 49ers, they have the most seasoned personnel in the NFC right now, even with Tom Brady and that Bucks team, because we don't know what they're going to do. 49ers, I think they could sneakily just get all the way through, like you said. If they can win the Super Bowl with Jimmy G at quarterback, I don't think Trey Lance has a starting job next year. So I kind of want to see if they can if he can prove to this organization that he's worth it. So I go to the Super Bowl. You got the talent.
I'm just going to put this on the record. I didn't believe in Trey Lance at all at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I believed in Jimmy. I don't know if I said it, but I thought Jimmy G was their quarterback and he should be their quarterback. And when they decided they were going to make the move, put Trey Lance under center, I was like, that doesn't seem like a good move. I know he has a lot of things from college that show that he's an excellent quarterback, but I thought Jimmy G was always the guy.
Yeah,
And
he's getting the job done, right? I mean, that's what he's done.
He's known for.
Trey Lance
pretty face.
Taking a lot, yeah, in the pretty face. Taking a lot of chances with Trey Lance, the injuries. He's got the cannon. Let's go. Jared Goff is our last one. I can start this one off. I'll give you a little break.
Oh, jeez.
Jared Goff, he actually had a pretty nice start to the season. The Lions offense, they look okay. They look great when they're healthy. That's the main thing. And that goes for most teams. But when you have Amon St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, they had TJ Hawkinson and they sold him off. Jared Goff's actually having a pretty nice year, all things considered. The running back situation's been great with Jamal Williams and Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift in there healthy. 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's pretty hard to do for a team that only has 4 wins as we enter December. The offense has done great. The defense is bottom 3 in the league, and they might actually be the worst. So I think Jared Goff has done his job. Goods, he's kind of like Jimmy G. He's going to hit his checkdowns. He's going to try and be the intelligent quarterback. He's not going to go and extend the play and go for the home run or anything like that. I think we've seen more toughness, and that's kind of just going to happen inherently when you play for a team like Detroit. And I mean, that is a shot to the franchise. They've just had so many failed experiments over the course of the last few decades. Jared Goff, I think, is doing his job the best he possibly can. He's embracing this team culture. I'm a big Dan Campbell fan, like the rest of America. I think it's a good culture there, and Jared Goff has really bought into it, and he's turned into a more tough version of himself. Bads, he's not going to make the home run play like you said before, and pocket awareness is pretty bad, but you also have a bad offensive line, so that's another thing. I mean, just looking over your shoulder, understanding your blind spots is not always going to be safe. That's what I do. Jared Goff, let's go B, because you still got to win football games. You got to be able to take your team on that game-winning drive at the end. Expectation, finish second in the division. You've got enough young, raw talent. Let's stop shooting for draft picks and see what we can do with the personnel we have.
Yeah, Jared Goff, he's a guy who is not in a great situation in Detroit, and I understand that. Take that fully in consideration. Given his, like you said, his pocket presence isn't real great. Sometimes it seems like he puts the blinders on as the pocket's collapsing, decides not to throw the ball away or something of that sort. He also doesn't have a great line. He's the guy that can be consistent when he has the opportunity, but I also think I've seen inconsistencies more when he was in Los Angeles than when he's in Detroit. But he had some inconsistencies while I think in Los Angeles playing for that team. But again, not the guy that's going to take the shot way down the field. So the goods and bads, he's good at sticking to the game plan, working it through, and making things happen. Bads, sometimes inconsistent, and sometimes pocket presence isn't really doesn't have any awareness to it, and that whole thing swallows him up. But again, not a great line. I had to give him a grade. I would give him a B minus. I think he's still doing okay. He's holding his ground. He's learning a different system, a lot less flash and a lot less classy than the LA Rams, but more gridiron and hard steel in Detroit, which is what they're known for. but we'll have to see. He's bought into, as you said, the Dan Campbell offense and playbook, which is a good thing. Well, let's see if Campbell can make something out of it. But yeah, Detroit's just you're kind of in your own spot. So my expectation for them is stay at the bottom of the NFC North. But if he can get to second place, I don't think they're a first place team like you said. That would be a great goal for them to be at, because I don't think they're going to take over the division anytime soon. But maybe a few moves here and there, they can make something happen. They got Hutchinson on defensive side. They're building there, but they got a lot of work to do because that defense is Swiss cheese when it comes down to it.
Yeah, they've gone after some Big Ten guys. Jeff Okuda not too long ago. Hutchinson now gets to stay in Michigan, although he's not on a very good team. Like you said, they're building. I think they're 2 or 3 years away from really giving the playoffs a run for their money, maybe even less. Jamison Williams coming off that ACL tear. We'll get to see what he can do in the last couple of weeks, just kind of as an open tryout to see where he'll be in that depth chart. He's someone you're going to take more deep shots to, so really interested to see how him and Jared Goff mesh. But yeah, that was our QB roulette, and then we do have our fan segment. This one got some very, very, very passionate responses. Yeah.
Yeah, this one got heated. Much less to my... So it was Chick-fil-A and Popeyes chicken sandwich. I know a lot of people are really passionate about their chicken sandwiches, and I'm sorry I didn't include McDonald's chicken sandwich. Culver's makes a great chicken sandwich as well. We're just going with the big chicken places in the rivalry, and I think Popeyes and Chick-fil-A are probably pretty arch rivals. They don't like each other too much. But yeah, Sparks, let's run through a couple of them. I got a couple of responses on my phone I'll make sure to address, but you can start out.
Yeah, we can speed run. I got a couple on the screen here. We got Matt S saying Popeyes has more chicken, and
That's true.
Yeah, it is. The bulk is there. Like, you're gonna get way more bang for your buck. And the mayo is great. I'm not too familiar with how good I think the mayo is. I don't know.
I haven't tasted the mayo. Maybe it's probably Hellman's. It's not going to be one of my Miracle Whip.
Right.
That stuff's gross.
Yeah, I like the Popeyes seasoning. I'll say that. I don't know too much about the mayo. We got Brett Loftus saying Chick-fil-A because it's the OG and the best chicken. All right, we've got some passion there. Edelmar says the Popeyes chicken sandwich screams juiciness in the first bite. The bun is built diffy, just like the sandwich overall. And talk about the thick with 2 C's piece of chicken in the between.
That is.
Like, oh, he's not done.
Whole thick chicken.
Like, excuse me, the size alone lets you know that not a cent has been wasted. Popeyes has the quality and value for your dollar type of sandwich that Chick-fil-A wishes it had. Edelmar, go sign up and be a marketing intern right now for Popeyes.
Oh my gosh,
yes. I mean, that was beautiful. And then, speaking of marketing, one of the marketing interns for the baseball team I worked for, Kenosha Kingfish last summer, KDK, says Popeyes, it's crunchier and better seasonings. And then we also have Lauren saying Popeyes for sure, great chicken sandwich, and they're not homophobic like some other chicken restaurants. We'll try not to get too into that, but she's got a point.
Let's try not to get too political.
Yeah, yes, I mean, she's not wrong, but yeah.
I'm not gonna say she's wrong. I got a response from Chandler. He says never had Popeyes, so got to go with Chick-fil-A. That's not very exciting.
It's all right, Chandler.
I don't know how you haven't had Popeyes.
Popeyes is very good. I want some right now.
Isn't there one in Oshkosh now?
Nearby, it's either Oshkosh or Neenah.
Okay. I know there's a Chick-fil-A there.
Yeah.
And I got my brother, Kiefer, saying Chick-fil-A sandwich isn't soggy like Popeyes. So it's a lot of Chick-fil-A that I got in my responses.
Okay.
Don't totally agree with that because you know what? Yes, it has a little sweat, but they also give you, like we talked about earlier, a giant piece of chicken. I mean, that's a chicken that they give you. I mean, that's a good sized piece. Fox 11's Lydia Anderson, my coworker, she says the pickles and sauce selections are better at Chick-fil-A, so she's going to go with Chick-fil-A, which I don't agree. Well, I agree with. I like the Chick-fil-A sauce, but I also think it's overrated a little bit. It's overhyped.
I think it's okay, but you could definitely make it at home.
Yeah, you just mix together a couple ingredients and then you got it. And then finally, my cousin Sheldon, actually a UW Oshkosh student.
Nice.
And he's going to go with Popeye sandwich is by far better. So my man.
Gotta agree.
Only thing that makes Chick-fil-A good is their sauce. But I'm on Popeye's side. I think Sparks is too. And yeah, Popeye is just, I mean, then like I forgot who it was that went on the big rant.
Oh, Edelmar.
Said,
Yep.
yeah, they give you the bang for your buck. You get a giant piece of chicken for your buck, and
Just the
it's a
thick
fantastic deal.
chicken.
Yeah, it's not as
The thicken.
probably thicken. That is true. It's like a thigh. I mean, you
Yeah,
get like a it's a big piece of chicken. You eat one and you're like, oh, you're
that's it.
sweating.
Yeah,
Get
you're
the
full. That, like you said, more bang for your buck. That's a good way to put it.
yeah. And that's why I go with Popeyes. And I think their spicy chicken sandwich is
I
amazing.
was gonna say their seasonings are off the chart. I feel like Chick-fil-A really leans hard into their legendary Chick-fil-A sauce that has all of about 4 to 5 ingredients. Popeyes just has a certain combination of seasonings that makes you just want to go back for seconds, even though you're too full to, because they actually do give you a lot of chicken.
Well, I always get two when I go because I know I'm gonna be trying to pound out on the second one, and then you're like feel like bag of lard. You're like, oh,
Like, okay, that's going for later.
but you're like, that was good.
That was
That was
good.
good. That was worth it. But yeah, I so kind of split. I would say Chick-fil-A probably got the better, but between us two, it's definitely Popeyes.
Oh yeah,
Um, I mean, without question, Popeyes just gives you that quality. You know, you're gonna get it. That giant piece of chicken, you're gonna get a delicious sandwich, and you get whatever else you want. And it doesn't seem like because I always felt like I got screwed over at Chick-fil-A because
so
the
expensive.
prices are higher.
Yep.
Yeah, the prices are higher, and you get a small piece of chicken, and then it's like, well, why didn't I go to McDonald's?
Honestly, yeah, get the 2 for $2.50 at McDonald's or 2 for $3 because of inflation at McDonald's with the 2 McChickens and
Because
you're
of inflation.
it went up. It used to be 2 for $2.50. I was like, okay, I guess we got to throw the extra 50 cents in there. But
Oh yeah, got to get those two
yeah,
Washingtons in there.
yep. But yeah, I agree, Johnny. If you're gonna get that much chicken, just go to McDonald's and pay $3 and call it a day.
Yeah, for the price and that kind of chicken, I'd so go with Popeyes. And then finally, we close things out with our favorite part of the show, our grievances and what grinds our gears. And Corey Sparks and Johnny Samp always have a couple of them lined up. Would like fans to include. We're going to try to be better on social media, especially myself. I'll take blame for that. But grinding our gears, we're going to try to advertise it a little bit more so people chime in because I love hearing what other people have to grind their gears. But Sparks, do you have anything grinding your gears this week?
Yeah, this is super like close to home, but it maybe some people can relate to it. So Algoma, as you know, Johnny, you're familiar with Algoma. Not many people are going to be.
Boulevard. Yeah.
Just opened, and it's a one-way again. So they used to make the street next to it, the neighboring street, High. They made it a two-way. Now usually Algoma goes one way, High goes the other. They had to split High down the middle to make it a two-way. Well, Algoma opened back up, and there are people driving left and right the wrong way. I faced a car from probably about like 2 blocks down, and he turned around, put his head or his hand up, and said, "Oh, my bad." And I'm just like, "Oh my goodness, yep, 'tis the season, and there's gonna be icy out." So I would just say when there's construction out, and I'm not blaming other people for it, but it's irritating when you've got like other people who are unfamiliar with the area and they might make a wrong turn and then they're going the wrong way on a one way. Can't say I haven't been there. I have been there, but it's a stressful environment. Construction in general, I guess, is what grinds my gears. I know it has to happen, but the traffic patterns that come of it, not too fun.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. I've been on a situation where I've seen somebody coming at me with in a one way, and it's like, okay, well, now we're both gonna have to stop,
This is happening. Yeah.
or we just run into each other, see who wins.
Demo derby.
Marshawn Lynch,
There you go.
beast mode, floor it. So I don't have too many right now, but it would definitely be the cold weather right now is kind of getting to me because it gets cold, then it gets warm, then it gets cold. Might as well just be cold or be warm. But I know we're supposed to have cold weather, so I'll take the cold weather. And it's the other part of when you get in the car, it's something you got to get used to when it's like cold and you're like,
Yeah.
chattering and everything.
Grabbing the steering wheel
Oh,
and your hands are shaking.
that's the worst. Yes, and then you got to crank the heat and it like blows at you,
Yeah.
and it becomes too hot at that time because you got your jacket on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole balancing game, and those of you that don't have to face that, it's
We're jealous of you.
just troublesome. Yeah, we're really jealous of you. Probably live close to the equator or something like that, or far away from it, and just deal with the same thing every day. But yeah, it's the Midwest values. that kind of thing where you crank the heat and you got it blowing at your face, and then it gets too hot and the windows steam up, and then you got to cool it down.
Yeah. Those are
It's
the
just a
mornings you
whole.
wake up and you're
Oh,
like, why do I live
oh, you know
here?
what's actually the worst? When
Hmm.
there's a little bit of ice on your windshield and you can't see anything.
Yep.
Yep.
You
And then you got to go
defrost
out
it.
there and scrape it if you are willing to do it. Or if I'm lazy, I turn up my
A
front
Yeah.
I forget what it's
A
called,
defroster.
defroster it.
Yep.
Yep. And then just crank it and just sit there and wait. But that sun when it hits that in the morning and you got
Oh, it's
ice on there,
reflecting. Yeah.
it's like extra strong.
Yep.
It's just terrible. You go blind.
It's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah, and then when the snowstorms hit, it's whose lane is it anyway on the highway?
Oh, that's the highway's a one way. Like I'm off smaller roads because I'm not technically from Kenosha. So I'm from a smaller neighboring town called Pleasant Prairie. There's a 2-lane, quote unquote highway that turns to 1 lane. Everybody just says, "Follow my tire tracks." Like,
Yep, that's what it is. Whose lane is it anyways?
yep.
And when you get up in like by Green Bay and you got the 4 lanes, 3 lanes,
Jeez.
and it's all covered in snow and you can't everybody's just kind of driving and just staying apart.
Just surviving. Yeah.
Yep, just trying to, hey, this is my lane for now. I don't know if I'm in between the white line. Why do they make in the north? Why do they make the lines white?
I swear. Yeah, we need like I know there's some yellow by me, but I feel like
Like
it's primarily
green.
yeah. Make it green, make it orange. I don't know.
Something that stands out, orange, bright orange, that would
Hmm.
work. Hunting deers wouldn't see it then either.
That's true.
Deers, that just finished up. Deer hunting season 2022. Hopefully you got a deer.
Yep.
Spark's big deer hunter, not really, but
Yeah.
family does a lot more of it, I think. I get a lot of hunters in my family. And yeah, so just wrapping up, we don't like cold weather, we don't like the snow, and you know, just the winter pains that we're going through. And to everybody who wished it was colder during the summer, it's all on you.
Here you go.
Yep.
Here's your wind chill of -5.
Yep. You happy now?
Yep.
You feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
That's that's one reference to
All
make.
right. Well, that'll just about wrap things up for Across Enemy Lines. Once again, another fun episode. Bears Packer week, so we hope to hear from you guys in some of our comments and that sort of thing. We want to hear your opinions. Hopefully, you'll stick with us next week because we'll be right back here. And we'll probably be adding some more things to our social media and that sort of thing if it works out with Spark's schedule. And we hope to have a special guest. Come on, we're not going to mention who it is, but he knows a little bit about football. I can say that. But signing off for Across Enemy Lines, I'm Johnny Samp, Corey Sparks. It was another great week. We hope to see you next week and have a great NFL weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night.